tonight wasn't the first time that you found something in screen roll and kind of figured out a way to get good shots. What were you seeing in this particular case, those first 6 minutes of the fourth when you guys flipped the lead around?
Just reading the game properly. Putting the ball on time, on target, getting my guys in position to be successful, and my guys were special tonight. Trez, Kuz was exceptional tonight. Obviously, big time game from him. Dennis, KCP, everybody. And that was in that fourth quarter. Was just West, just big minutes. And we needed it on both ends, and we got it.
You've spoken about Kuz often this year, last year too. But what are the biggest growth areas that you've noticed in these last couple years?
You just said it's all about growth. The game has just slowed down, every year for him. Obviously, I've been with him for the last 3 years, so the game has just slowed down. And, he knows his role with this team, and he does it, to a high level. And tonight was another example of that.
And LeBron, we got the update about AD and being reevaluated another couple of weeks, so not sure about when Mark's going to come back. What are the keys with that front court, and how does that impact and change the way that you guys have to play here?
It's a collective group. It's a collective effort in the front court. Starting with DJ, Trez coming off the bench, Smooth, myself, Kuz. It's a collective group, and we all have to put our hard hats on in the absence of Mark and AD, and and just play bigger than our size. So it's going to be a collective group for all of us.
Okay, let's go to Dave McMenamin, please.
Well, there was a lot of talk about how great the energy was at your first practice after the break. You spoke about how important the reset was for everyone. You fall down 12 to a Pacers team, a couple games under 500. What does it mean for this group to be able to have that comeback and take this first step forward as you march towards the playoff?
Just want to continue to get better. It doesn't matter the record. Teams are going to play well. Teams are executing well against us, and it doesn't matter the record. But it's just how we keep our composure. And we did that in that third quarter after getting down, and then we got down again in the third quarter, and then we kept our composure to the fourth and was able to take the lead.
Ken Moinke.
Hey LeBron, I don't know if you've seen online, but Kyle Kuzma, how he described kind of the look that he shot you in the fourth quarter for the ball. I don't want to say it, but he's a confident player, and I think what does that say about him that he's willing to
make plays, and that's the growth. The growth of him is knowing that some games are going to be different. He's not going to be always high-scoring nights, but he's still able to make an impact, especially on the glass, with his energy and his effort. But we need him to make shots. We need him to make shots, especially in the absence of AD. And tonight was an example of that.
Okay, we're going to take two more. Let's go to Kyle Boone.
Hey LeBron, this win makes you guys 8-7 without AD, over 500. Is that a number that you look at, that you watch, and what relationship does that record have to your expectations to repeat as champions?
No, I haven't even paid attention to our record without AD. We just want to continue to work our Laker habits, continue to play good basketball. And tonight we played good basketball, especially in that fourth quarter, where we turn it on defensively, we turn it on offensively, and we want to continue that going into our next game.
All right, and last question, let's go to Harrison Bacon.
Hey LeBron, Kuz has gotten a lot of credit, but it looked like Trez really stepped up on both of the ends of the floor for you guys tonight. I was just curious, how much more comfortable are you seeing him get out there on defense and offense for you guys? And have you talked to him at all about needing to step up while AD is out in terms of his scoring or anything like that?
Some things goes without saying. We all have to step up in AD's absence. And Trez did that tonight on both ends, especially in that fourth quarter. He stepped up big time offensively, and we needed that push. We went a few quarters where we didn't shoot the ball well. We weren't making shots, but we hang our hats on our defense. And then Trez got it going in that fourth quarter. It's big time. We got to realize that it's only like the game 37. Trez with us. It's a brand new system. It's a brand new team. He's learning us. He played so many games, with the Clippers, and he kind of knew. He knew the system in and out, with those guys for years. So he's getting better and better every single game, and we're going to just continue to need his energy and effort on both ends of this floor. Appreciate it.
He is
More
progressing in his recovery and has been cleared to enter the next phase of his return to play process. He will be reevaluated by team doctors in 2 weeks, and an update will be given at that time.
2 weeks? I mean, the waiting game.
You're not surprised?
No.
Right?
No. I think Frank Vogel mentioned it earlier. You have to continue to be cautious in this situation. So, not surprised. I think it still sets up for him to be back on the court at the right time. Still have 5 or 6 weeks to finish out the regular season and be at his best going into the postseason, fresh and healthy.
All right, KCP scored 7 points and made the defensive play of the game. He's now speaking with Mike.
KCP. Kenny.
Hey, Kenny, can you take us through that last possession, what you were expecting Indy to do, and how you ended up being able to jump in the lane like that?
Before we try to get in front of them and get the ball, pretty much break down.
What did you see, I guess just zooming back to earlier in the fourth quarter, what did you see as the key to turning things around when you guys were down 8?
Just getting stops. We needed stops when they went on. They kept going on their runs. We needed stops, more energy. Also rebound the ball and get out in transition what we best at. I think we did that that fourth quarter and the last couple of minutes to finish the game out.
So you've now seen more of Kyle Kuzma than anybody else on the team going back a few years. Just wondered how you traced his development and what you've seen him, where you've seen him grow this season.
He was growing a lot, just being more aggressive on the offensive end. He's crashing the glass on the defensive end, that's different. Getting a second chances, just being in the right position to get them rebounds. And he's playing with great energy. And we need that from him. He's a scorer on this team, and we need that from him.
I'm throwing it to the box up top. You know what I'm saying? I'm throwing it to the box up top, baby.
Lid up top. Come on. Final score, Lakers 105-100 over the Pacers. Malcolm Brogdon with 29, 12 of 20 from the field. He had a great game. Remember, though, he had 18 after 1, so credit the Laker D, as Rob and Fish were talking about. Sabonis with 20. Kyle Kuzma, 24 and 13. LeBron James, 18 and 10. Montrezl Harrell, 17 with 3 blocks. Let's hear from Frank Vogel. He's speaking with Mike in the media.
Hey, Frank, that first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, when you kind of flipped the lead around, what were the things you were seeing on both ends of the court?
Well, we're getting stops and we're taking care of the ball. I think those are the 2 biggest things. Their pressure disrupted us a little bit in the first half. We talked about it the last 2 days. We talked about how in previous games like this, sometimes it's a little disruptive in the first quarter, but we figure it out and we settle into getting used to their pressure. And I thought we did that as the game went along, and that was indicative of that stretch right there. I think in the fourth, Kuz was huge for us, 15 points. Made some defensive plays. Trez made some plays. And Talon, Diaz, Bron, everybody contributed in that fourth quarter. But we held them to 21 points, and we took care of the basketball in the fourth.
And Frank, that action that you were seeing with LeBron and Harrell's screen roll, and then it seemed like Kuz on the weak side, what was that something that was scripted, or just LeBron noticing something and kind of going back to the well as it was working?
Yeah, it's just pick and roll action. Bron and Trez are in that action often, and he's got targets spotted up on the weak side. The strong side corner, weak side if they overhelp. He reads the help, and obviously Trez is a dynamic finisher. Bron's a dynamic attacker and playmaker, and he made some great reads during that stretch.
Let's go to Kyle Kuzma.
Hey, Frank, it looked like you were trying to maybe limit LeBron's minutes a little bit using the rotations, and then he kind of checks back in the fourth quarter, and you guys immediately go on that run. Does that feel, comforting, validating? Sort of, are you sort of expecting that LeBron to have that kind of pep just right after the All-Star break?
It's actually something we've done, coming into the break, the final few games. We wanted to use rotation where instead of coming out at 6 and playing that normal rotation with Anthony out, with Mark out, maybe it makes sense to just look at extending his third quarter, playing him down toward the end of that, and then, giving him the first couple minutes of the fourth off, and then bringing him in about the 9-minute mark to close the rest of the way. It's something we looked at. We liked it going into the break. Decided we're going to stick with it and see how it looks tonight. And he was able to come back in fresh and help us close the game out.
Frank, 2 quick ones for you. First, Anthony, what's your reaction to the reevaluation news and where he stands now?
Yeah, we anticipated it's going to be a little bit of a build-up. Once we get back, so we'll be patient. We'll continue to compete and win games, and we'll all be very excited when we finally get it back.
And secondly, obviously it's been such a year for Kuzma in terms of showing other parts of his game. We've talked about the defense, the steals, deflections, the offensive rebounding. What can it take for him to be able to do both, like he did tonight, to score and do all those other things?
Yeah, I mean that's what we need from Kuz. We need that type of performance and proficiency on both ends. On a consistent basis. He's capable. He's shown that he can really help us. He helped us win a championship last year. So, he's one of our most important players, and it's my job to make sure we're putting him in the right position to succeed. His role doesn't change if he starts or if he comes off the bench, and he's going to impact both sides of the ball.
Allie Clifton. Hi, Allie.
Since you guys had a lot of fun talking about the fun part of the game to start the show, the offensive side, I'll talk about the necessary end, the defensive side of the ball.
Thank you.
42%, 22% from deep. You guys talked about the individual adjustments made on guys like Malcolm Brogdon. You look at score by quarters. It got better for the Lake Show. I think it's worth noting, without a guy like Anthony Davis, LeBron James spent time with reporters yesterday saying, not sugarcoating anything. We've talked about the struggles on the offensive side of the ball, but what has saved this team this season is that they're the #1 defensive rated team. And you continue to see that. I think tonight, especially without Alex Caruso, you're already without Anthony Davis, where this team hangs their hat, and they stay true to it through and through.
Allie, I think it's interesting because we hear a lot about last year's team and they had length. It's a different defensive team than this year. I asked the guys in the pregame show when we first came on the air, how do you defend without AD and Marc Gasol? And they said you can't make up for what AD does on the floor, but you have to have active hands. You got to help each other, play team defense. You look at the stats every single night. Here they are again, 10 steals, 5 blocks. So they're finding a way to get it done.
And I liked looking at guys like Trez, who are undersized, but you can't help but go back to that quote he had a couple of weeks ago about, if the strongest or biggest animal in the jungle was to be the elephant, or however that quote went. I don't even know what it was, but it was so great. It would be the elephant. Yeah. And you just
king of the jungle.
The king of the jungle. You just look at him out there flying around, sacrificing his body at times. You think of guys like Alex Caruso who are falling on the ground. I mean, now he's out with a head contusion. To your point, just different ways of finding that rhythm and that side of the ball to coexist with one another, and they're getting it done.
Yeah, and Fish, at halftime, I wanted to talk about offense, but you still kind of turned it to defense. It said, to win, though, you're going to have to get stops. And that still held true. I mean, they held the Pacers to 21 points in that fourth quarter. And it allowed their offense to get going. Because as you said, when your offense is kind of stuck in the mud, get easy baskets. And that means defending, getting out, and running.
Yeah, when you take Anthony Davis off the court, you get less efficient offensively.
He's pretty good.
he's pretty good. And so you need more possessions. You have to give yourself more chances to score because you're not going to score as often in the same amount of possessions. So defensively is where the Lakers really have to continue to, as Ali said, hang their hat. That's where they create higher efficiency offensively by continuing to rely on that #1 defensive rating in the league.
Yeah, the defense comes down to the will and the want. You got to will it to yourself, you got to will it to your teammates, and you got to want to do it. If you watch a lot of teams around the league, they just want to get to that other end. The Lakers aren't like that. They want to play a little defense, lockdown, and they take pride in it. And if you sit down and you watch, especially in that last possession right there you saw with the steal, there was a lot of communication going on. LeBron was telling KCP what was going to happen. I was going to switch, and they have a really good communication on the defensive end, because a lot of times guys they expect something to happen, but you know what's going to happen if I'm telling you by letting it come out of my mouth. So their way to talk and communicate on the defensive end makes them a good team.
Chemistry.
A lot of
kind of like in here, Rob.
Yeah, a lot of chemistry. Ain't that right, Allie?
Yeah, I actually have the quote.
Go ahead, Al.
I actually don't. I do have more love to give, though. I'm not done yet. We have more love to give because you guys had all the love for Kyle Kuzma. And you look on Twitter, you look on social media right now, and people were buzzing. Draymond Green, go off. Kyle Kuzma.
He loves tweeting about the Lakers.
He does.
Makes Warrior fans real mad, too. It's awesome.
That is interesting. But here's a follow-up, too, from Kendrick Perkins. Anthony Davis getting hurt was a blessing in disguise for Kyle Kuzma. The young man has elevated his game both ends of the floor, playing some of his best basketball of his career this season. Just saying, though, he forgot the carry on. That's what I should have said about the jungle, the comment, the elephant, all that. Carry on.
Yeah. Carry on.
Carry on.
Lakers are back in action on... Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Chris McGee, and I'm joined by Big Shot Robert Horry, his former teammate Derek Fisher. We got Allie Clifton here. We got Brez and Trudell handling the Zooms, and we got Big Game James in Hawaii. No Gasol, no Anthony Davis for at least a couple more weeks. We'll talk about that later. Alex Caruso goes out in the second quarter with a head contusion, so we didn't have AC. The Lakers with a gutsy effort. Down 12 in the fourth, they close with a 31-14 run, and Rob, they get the win to start the second half.
Yeah, they came out on fire in that fourth quarter, which helped them out a lot. They played extremely good defense down the stretch because we know young fella was killing them, Brogdon. And so when you have a guy like that that's killing you in the first half, you have to make adjustments at halftime. And that's the sign of a good defense. And they made their adjustments. They came out and kind of slowed him down. And then Kuz got off. So it was a really good second half, especially for a team that looked very lethargic in the first half.
Yeah, Brogdon with 18 after the first, ended with just 29.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they found a way to start to get into his space a little bit. He was really getting anything he wanted in that first quarter, coming off of some of the flex action with the down screen, getting to catch and shoot threes, finishing at the rim. But the Lakers were turning the basketball over. So it was giving the Pacers additional possessions. And I think as they started to limit the turnovers, in particular in that fourth quarter, they were actually able to find their way to score some points, which they struggled with in the first half.
The guy we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, he's at Staples Center, and he's talking with Mike Trudell. It's Kyle Kuzma.
All right, Kuz, you guys trailed by 8 heading into the fourth quarter and turned things around quick. You had 13 of your 24 in the first 6 minutes of that period. What changed there? What were you guys seeing?
I think defensively just turned it around a little bit. We were good all night defensively, but I think that mid-third and all fourth, we were dynamite on that end of the court, getting out, transition, and we hit a few shots.
And then let me flip you to the offensive side of the court. It seemed like a lot of that action was coming on LeBron's screen roll with Harrell. You were sometimes on the weak side, sometimes involved in.
It all worked, and it was a cohesive effort.
So Kyle, All-Star break, you come back, still no Marc Gasol, still no Anthony Davis, and then Caruso goes out in the first half. What is it you guys are having to try to patch together, to put together that whole next man up thing that resulted in tonight, and what you're going to try to look for moving forward?
Well, I mean, that's how our roster is constructed. Our roster is constructed for the playoffs and to be very deep and very interchangeable and diverse. And you see that every game for us.
And then final thing, just for you, Kuz, how do you feel like your game has evolved here into this season, and how comfortable are you feeling right now with the way things are going for you?
Oh man, I'm just trying to be a beast defensively and a beast on the boards, and offensive is going to take care of it. I just got to hit open shots and be in the right place, and that's all I'm focused on.
All right, Kuz, appreciate the time, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the hero tonight, guys, Kyle Kuzma, another double-double. He talked to Mike Trudell right there. He just wants to be a beast on the defensive end. We saw some great defense on Sabonis down the stretch, and he wants to be a beast on the boards. Another double-double, 13 rebounds. But his offense was needed tonight, Fish, and he delivered with 24 points, 15 of those in the fourth quarter. And when Kuz can get those buckets, in bunches, like we've seen throughout his 4-year career. You just see that swag in his game, and it was nice to see it tonight. They needed it. He answered the call big time.
Yeah, there's no question that Kuz's offense is needed. I believe it's mandatory over these next few weeks as we're waiting for Anthony Davis's return, that Kuz has the opportunity to impact the stat sheet offensively night in and night out. A lot of that will come from great Lakers defense, right? The way they play offense traditionally in the half.
Game goes on. He's learning the game more and more, and he's taking what's given to him. Before, he would go out and just take bad shots because he wants to get up a shot, but now he's playing basketball. He's playing team basketball and understanding what he can do. This is the thing. A lot of guys say, oh, I think I can do that, but you cannot do that. But that's the way he used to play. Now he's like, can I do that? Yes, I can. And he does the things on the court to make the team better. He's getting to the basket. He's blocking shots. He's going to offensive rebound. He's doing a little bit of everything to make himself successful, not just running down to a corner, shooting threes like he did in his first couple of years.
You use the word maturity, and we've talked a lot about Kuz and how much he's grown up and how much last year helped him. And we also talked in the pregame show about a guy like Michael Cooper, hopefully going into the Hall of Fame, and you two, guys who've sacrificed individual accolades, statistics to be a part of championship teams. Fish, how hard is it for a young guy like Kuz to understand and learn how to impact a team, not just in the box score?
I assume it has been extremely difficult, and I think we saw that struggle for him in the first few years in the league, really trying to find his way, kind of part of what felt like was going to be a rebuild. And then all of a sudden, LeBron James comes and everything has changed. And I think he's really struggled to find his way. Does he belong? Does he fit? And I believe he's answered that question. The team has answered that question by committing resources to Kuz, and he's really settled in. I believe that this young man does have all-star potential, but he has intentionally made a choice to sacrifice for the greater good of the team. He enjoyed that feeling of holding that trophy last year in the bubble, and he wants it again.
Is that probably what you're proud of most about with him? That he's kind of learned how to sacrifice?
Oh, yeah, no doubt, because that's one of the biggest things I tell kids when I talk to them. You're going to have to sacrifice. Everybody can't be the top scorer. Everybody can't be the rebounder, but you have to sacrifice to make the team better. And sometimes during that sacrifice, you're making yourself better. And I think Kuz is making himself better because he's not going out trying to say, hey, run this play for me. Oh, you're not running this play for me? Oh, I'm going to make my own play by going to the offensive rebound. And his work on the defensive end, we can't talk about it now. First couple of years, he couldn't guard anybody on the wing. Now he's breaking it down. He's standing in front of guys, and he's not giving up. That's how he gets a lot of his block shots. He goes for the weak side block, and he's doing so many things defensively that's making his game better on the offensive end.
And the toughest part, though, real quick, is that when you're not showing certain things, the hardest part is knowing that people believe that you can't.
Yes.
Right? So in your mind, you want to show people that, no, I actually can do more.
I can score 25.
Right. But and having to tell yourself that and choosing to say, no, the team needs me to do A, B, and C. And that's what Rob is really speaking to. Kuz recognizes this is what the team needs me to do in order for us to win. And he has committed to that. And then his offense follows from that commitment to the team.
Yeah, when you're the one young guy, one of two young guys on a championship team filled with veterans, you learn that in a hurry, and I think he did. Guys, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this Lakers offense through 3 quarters. Really struggling. No AD, no Gasol. We talked about Alex Caruso going out. Fish, you even said at halftime, listen, they still got to win it on the defensive end, and you got to get stops. They're shooting just 38% in those 3 quarters. When I say Kuz answered the bell, he really needed to because they were stagnant. Now, they came alive in that 4th quarter, but it was a struggle until that point.
It really was a struggle. I think the turnovers in the first half really made it difficult to find some rhythm. They got to the free throw line a lot, which is a good thing in the first half, but it breaks the timing of the game up. There's a lot of stoppage, a lot of whistles. I thought as that 4th quarter started, they found a flow. I thought LeBron, I chose him before the game to really see, like, which game was he going to come out and play. Was he going to go for 30 to make sure that they won the game? He chose the chess game. 18, 19 points, 10, 11 assists, making sure that they still keep the balance. And that's what really got Kuz going. Middle screen roll, LeBron forcing 2 guys to cover him. Backside defense has to come in and leave Kuz. Boom. Frozen rope. Kuz knocked it down.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about when you watch LeBron play, he just orchestrates what he wants to do. He sits back and he says, okay, what am I going to do tonight? What am I going to do, to make ourselves better? And for me, I loved in the fourth quarter how he saw Kuz had the hot hand. He ran that little play for Kuz to run baseline, had a double screen on the baseline. Kuz go to the corner to shoot three, but he missed it. But LeBron still had faith in him to run that play and came back down knowing that guys who are hot sometimes do miss a shot. So he came down and ran another play for him, got him in the corner on that play for the three where the guy did pump fake flyby. So that's the thing that you love about a smart player. He says, okay, I could probably get to the hole, but they got Miles Turner back there, one of the best shot blockers in the game. Let me work on my passing game to get my guys into the game. So, that LeBron James, he orchestrates a game like no other now.
This win kind of reminded me of many over the past 18 months, the recipe for this team. Maybe you don't look great offensively through three quarters, but it's your defense in that fourth quarter that starts to lock down, holding Indiana just 21 points. Offense gets going.